GSPartners just got a cease and desist from the state of Texas for securities fraud. Is this finally the end of GSPartners? This might be the last chance I get to warn people before GSPartners collapses. So whatever you do, do not put any money or any more money into GSPartners. They're having one of those big marketing MLM hype events coming up in South Africa on November 18th, which is in just a day or two after I put this video out. There couldn't be any better time for that to happen. These MLM marketing events are for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's just to get more money deposited into the scheme. A lot of times Ponzi schemes like GSPartners collapse right after these marketing events. If you take a look at Crypto Program, I think it was in June or July, whenever they had their last event in Atlanta, and the scheme collapsed within a month of the event happening. It's basically just one final money grab before the scheme collapses. That way the owners can take more millions of dollars more in stolen money. My guess is that's probably what's going to happen here with GSPartners. I don't think it'll collapse immediately, because the way that they have this structured is that they pay out at the end of the meta certificates. That's whenever the lump sums, all of the people's deposits have to get returned to them, plus a bonus in some of the certificates. So I don't think it'll collapse immediately, but whenever those come due, it's definitely going to collapse. There's no way they're going to be able to pay out all of the meta certificates. Plus, the cease and desist from Texas isn't going to stop the Ponzi recruiters from recruiting new victims, but it will scare the Ponzi promoters, the experienced ones at least, from depositing more money themselves. So some of the money is going to start to dry up. They're not going to be redepositing. All right, let's take a look at the cease and desist from Texas. And also there's one from British Columbia in Canada as well. What we're looking at here is the Texas State Securities Board cease and desist for Gold Standard Bank doing business as GS Smart Finance, Gold Standard Partners, GSPartners. All the doing business as names include Swiss Valorum Bank, and it puts in Joseph Dortmund Height, Bruce Hughes, Aline Lima, and Dirk Zalman. And this is an emergency cease and desist order. So what I'm not going to do is go through all of this, because it is 61 pages. You can see here at the top, one of 61. But what we will do is we'll scroll all the way down to page 60. Well, let's look at page 61 first. Here's the signature by the Securities Commissioner in Texas. And this was on the 16th day of November. So what we'll do now is we'll look at the conclusions of law. So this is basically their findings. This is what the accusations are here from the state of Texas. Starting with number 2, they're saying the elemental certificates and the success series certificates are securities. And here there's another securities violation, another securities violation. This one's interesting. Respondents are engaging in fraud in connection with the offer for the sale of securities. Been saying this for a while. They're committing securities fraud. It's pretty obvious. Anyone who spends 10 minutes looking at the laws would know that they're committing securities fraud, and this is a Ponzi scheme. Here, respondents are making offers containing statements that are materially misleading or otherwise likely to deceive the public. So materially misleading. That's what they're doing. They're misleading people by talking about the absurd returns. They're telling them all these different things that they're doing, and they're not actually doing them. Here it says, respondents' conduct, acts, and practices threaten immediate and irreparable public harm. So that's why I make these videos, is to warn the public, to warn anyone thinking about investing, to stop, to help at least reduce the public harm. Anyone that comes across my videos and then invest, that's on them. But if, my goal is to get in front of them, so if they're searching for information about GSPartners, they'll find things like these cease and desist and the fraud warnings and then not invest. So the order is to immediately cease and desist for all of these people. Stop committing securities fraud. Right now, this is just in Texas, but this was a coordinated effort between Canada and also the U.S., the state of Texas. I believe the state of Alabama is going to be putting something out very soon. I've seen that mentioned around quite a few different places. So let's also take a look at British Columbia. They put something out also that is talking about 3 of the sponsors in British Columbia, and then they are putting, it's a temporary cease and desist order, and it's for GS Partners, Gold Standard Bank, GSB, all the doing business as names, Swiss Loan Bank. And then they named 3 of the affiliates, I'm guessing 3 of the higher up affiliates, Nitsa Nakos. So shout out to Nitsa Nakos for making it into a cease and desist. Then you have Tanya Sue Cloet, I believe that might be how you pronounce her name. I think she just goes by Tanya. I found her online. And then you have, I think it's her boyfriend or husband or something, James Gardiner. So shout out to those guys, James Gardner and Tanya Cloet. Something that I did find funny here is that Nika Nakos, she actually put out her own press release about herself. So she wrote this for Yahoo Finance. She wrote it and then had it distributed through a press release company. She paid around $1,000, maybe a little bit more. You can see her website right there. So she wrote this article, paid AccessWire. You can see a view source version on AccessWire. She paid AccessWire likely over $1,000 to have this distributed to websites like Yahoo Finance. And that is a page out of Josh Berman's playbook. So if you're unfamiliar with Josh Berman, I've mentioned him in a video or two. He did the exact same thing. And Josh Berman, funny enough, was just called out. I believe the cease and desist was put out today by Texas about bitsports.ai, which is another Ponzi scheme. They put out, Texas put out another cease and desist that said this about Josh Berman. They said that Josh Berman is writing articles about himself and paying to have them published in Yahoo Finance. So that's pretty funny to include in a cease and desist. Okay, so I won't bore you anymore with the cease and desist stuff. Let's finish this up. Okay, so what does this all mean? Well, if history repeats itself, which it usually does, that means that anyone who's invested in GS Partners recently or invests after this video is put out and after the cease and desist was put out is likely going to lose their money. So right now what we have is 2 cease and desist. I believe there's another one coming from the state of Alabama. We have the meta certificates that are going to be expiring soon. Plus there are multiple fraud warnings from different countries around the world. So what does all this lead to? It leads to an inevitable collapse because recruitment is going to dry up, and that's what Ponzi schemes need to keep going. They need new investments, and these kind of things are going to scare people off. But most of the investors actually aren't going to talk about this, and most of them don't. They usually just defend this. They defend it until the end, and they pretty much always will. And the reason is because GS Partners has a code of ethics to where the affiliates can't say anything negative about the program. And what this is going to do is stop them from speaking out, because if they do speak out, they'll get their accounts terminated. You can look at Unlimited Freedom on YouTube. We've had a debate before. He's a Ponzi promoter, so I don't recommend you follow any of his advice. But he spoke out against GS Partners and apparently, if I'm remembering correctly, got his account banned. So you're not going to see too many things from the GS Partners promoters. They're likely not even going to stop recruiting because they know if they recruit more people, then that gives them a better chance of making more money and getting their money back. So if you're considering investing in GS Partners, I would encourage you to watch some of the other videos on my channel, read the warnings on something like BehindMLM, also check out the fraud warnings, the cease and desist, the criminal records of the people promoting these things, the track records. Most of these people were in Carrot Bars, which is a collapsed Ponzi scheme. Take a look at all this stuff and then decide for yourself. But I would suggest definitely don't invest in it. Do more research. And if you're a GS Partners affiliate, I'd like to encourage you to stop lying to people. Stop promoting this Ponzi scheme. You know it's going to collapse. And you also might be featured in the next SEC lawsuit or the next cease and desist, or maybe the next video that I put out or others put out or on BehindMLM. And what would your family think if they know that you're lying to people to steal commissions? Have a little bit of morals, have some ethics, and quit stealing money from people. Until next time, keep patrolling.